is starting on the attacking side. So we've seen them get very aggressive in the pistol rounds. On a map like Haven, I can only expect that hyper aggression to be doubled. Starting up into round one right here on the map, it is Arial Rise versus VGA. I'm more than excited to see how this is going to play out.
Now, keep in mind, this is for all the eggs in the basket. It's not like yesterday where at least they could go into the loser's bracket. This is the loser's finals. Of this best of three, if one team doesn't win, they're going to go home. This is for everything if they want to have a chance to have $100 right now. And right away, we are going to see a bit of a split push again. It's the pistol round, so everyone, should group up together a little bit more than we will be seeing in future rounds, and it's looking like maybe the C push will be the ideal situation. Now we do see on VGA side, we do see that Cypher playing on A site, and he's holding it down really well, but he's not going to see a whole lot of aggression there. Early on, we already see C-Long having a lot of contesting, and that's going to be on the garage push as well. Back and forth between the two teams. Raph comes out on top, taking on Polonium, and that's going to be C-Site completely taken over.
C-Site hasn't taken over, and the spike is going down now, still on a 4v4 situation. A soul for a soul has been traded, but at what cost? So the fence lost their smoke. Meanwhile, Cypher has already wasted a lot of his utility on the attacking side. Now, Sage Wall's up in garage here. He's getting knifed down, but the smoke in hand is immediately as well. Oh, that's going to be stepped up, taken out by Mindless. The Frenzy gunning him down. Rick is going to find another one as well, and the headshot on the stun. Raph, however, trying to hold it back as best they can. The attacker's being forced back for as long as Raph finds 3 on the round. Make that 4 with Matt hearing the lack of an ace for Raph. Raph, a 4K to go absolutely bonkers. And that is going to be VGA, or rather Arial Rise, winning the first round.
Now, Raph getting 4Ks or even 3Ks is completely not uncommon for him and his team. We had seen a similar play, I believe, on Bind last night in the last match between himself and PDHM Gaming. Unfortunately, even with those 4Ks, didn't quite go as they planned, and that's why they're in this position they are right now. But all things considered, that's a very good start for Arial Arise. They just need to keep up this momentum now, and it's looking like they're just going to switch it up a little bit. Going to go for the buys a little bit more and go for an A push. We do see a little bit of resistance on B as well, so they could be scouting it out and maybe trying to get a pinch on the A, but suddenly that aggression's no longer there.
Back to rotate through their spawn area and going for a full A-long take by the look of it. Omen and Priest going through the bottom of the map there, but they're going to be rest by their contenders. Toasty Toaster and Stun and Raph all finding one for themselves, but A-Short is in control now for Arial Arise. The attack has gone into full force, and the spike has been planted. Once again, about the retake formation. We got 1 on the site and 2 on the site. One with the classic, but going to get shut down quickly by Matt, finding 2 huge kills, and the attackers going to win that round. Once again, another round in the bag for Arial Arise. You know,
Great.
Say,
What's up?
Absolutely amazing. That's exactly what we need.
The aggression is a really hard thing for a lot of defenders, it seems, in AGN to deal with. Usually when the team is more aggressive, it's easier for the attack. Now, of course, I did mention AGN, but that really goes across a lot of competitive Valorant in general. But it just seems like in AGN, these last 3 teams that we have alive, whoever's the most aggressive will win.
That's very true. And obviously, this is not the most up-to-date, obviously not the most 12-hour strategy. These are teams that are really getting into the swing of things. So aggression is something that was that, but rather Rick getting wonderful kill, shutting down Steph and Matt one after another. Baseline goes well. The grenade goes out from Raze. Mindless saving the life of Rick before he can get shut down once again by Space. Kills coming out on every single side now, and it's left to a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 for the defenders. Toasty is going to be in garage, going for the kill onto Raph. The immediate refrag from his teammate. The first round in the bag for VGA.
A very nice start for VGA. They got the ball rolling, all things considered, before things got really worse. This is still a good indicator for a close game, and so far we've only seen A and C side attempts. We haven't really seen too much of a B side attempt We did see a little bit of it in round 2 between the Omen and the Breach, but that was shut down pretty quickly into the rotate onto, I believe, A site. Now, the prep phase is almost over, and we do see some ults on the board. We do have VGA with their Showstopper and Hellfire, and so that could be really, really good for denying a plant. Now, we do see the opening picks come out from Space going on the Toasty, but of course, Toasty goes down, but Roasty's there to help refrag Toasty and taking down Space. A minute 23 left on the clock, and there's already a man disadvantage again for the defenders. The revive comes out just in time because now the neural theft is back on Space. Most of the defenders are hiding on A right now, and it seems like the attackers don't really know what they want to do. Arial Arise is debating about if they want to go for A again, or maybe trying to bait out a rotate onto C. And it seems like even if they do want to bite out the rotate, they're still going to go for C anyways. Now, Stuns is being a man with a plan. He's going to be the sacrifice, seeing how A is looking right now. But that Cypher's hiding on his right. He doesn't look at the corner, and Roasty takes him down. And that's going to be a good indicator that, hey, C site is to be under control. Now, that's going to be the plan going down with 30 seconds left. It's not looking good for the defenders. They're not aware up until now that there's a full rotate going on. We see a mad scramble coming on from Arial Arise, and they get shut down from the Sage Wall. It's looking really good for the Arial Arise right now. They have it all completely shut down. There's no rotates really available for VGA, and they're struggling so much. They're all grouped up in the corner, but Rinka wants to go for it. Ghoststopper comes down and barely takes down Space. Matt claps back, taking down Rika just after that kill, and Mindless kills Matt, but it's not enough. Or is it? It's a one. Never mind. What was once a 1v3 is now a 1v1. Raph with a double kill. Gonna be taking down everybody except that last Omen. It's a battle of wits between the two. He goes for the defuse. He tries to use his own shadows to block out that visibility. He gets the kill onto Raph, but Polonium gets sacrificed along with the diffuser. Unfortunate and a very valiant attempt. Almost a comeback, Casey, but not quite enough.
You know, it was very close there, and I have to say that Raph really saved the day there. You know, when it came down to a 1v3, Raph kept himself cool, calm, and collected, which is exactly what we'd love to see. He was not worried about overpeaking. He was taking people out systematically, and he saved that Hellfire for the most ideal moment. You know, the one moment that he's not going to be able to get that long peak certified, and he's going to rather deny the entirety of a defuse. The garage wall is being shot down very quickly here from Matt. Lead me to believe it may be a garage to C take, but we're not too sure about that. A lot of the defenders are spread out across the map still. A lot of possible rotates coming out here, actually. Coming out from the Phoenix, Brim, and the Cypher. We can see some engagement on the map right there. Steph taking him out, though. Most of the attackers inside of the garage now. Cypher's ultimate comes out, revealing the locations of the remaining defenders. Now the flank is aware. Stuns finding it another on the round. Is going to take down Rika Bunkers. That is absolutely... that's a huge pick. Now, the reason why that's a huge pick is because that was one of the main defenders that were not on the flank. Now it's going to be left all up to the Omen to try to hold it back, but it's going to be a B take rather, and Spike goes down. Stuns finding it another on the round. Is going to take down Polonium. Now the Omen is taken out. The classic coming out from Roasty and Toasty, the Toasty-Roasty duo, putting in work against that breach, taking him down and not allowing him to use his ult. But Spike's down. The 45-second timer began 15 seconds ago, and it's going to have to be a quick retake from the defenders if they want to make any sort of thing happen here.
Shadows traveling.
Time is counting down. It's a 2v4, and if you're the defenders, you're kind of worried a little bit. Toasty's on the other side of the map, already given up, it seems, looking for those exit frags. Roasty wanted to give it a chance, but unfortunately, Roasty wasn't quite there for Toasty, and Toasty wasn't there for Roasty, and that's going to be Toasty saving their lives, but Roasty unfortunately gets roasted along with them. And even then, Toasty unfortunately gets roasted along with them. Space finds him, and that's going to be another win on the board for Arial Arise. And what was once a really close game in those first beginning rounds is suddenly turning into bomb plant after bomb plant and no real post-plant defense coming out.
It does not seem to be that way. Now, obviously, Arial Arise is taking sites very aggressively on their attacking half, and that is just absolutely phenomenal. Now, the reason for that being such, there being so much hyper-aggression here from the attacking team is once again the fact that there has to be a full spread of attackers and defenders. Toasty, however, scratching my words, is going to make himself very aggressive with his run it back, dragon in hand, is going to get shut down before we can make anything happen. Inside the smoke coming out, not able to find the Cypher, and rather giving a little bit of eco to the other team by finding that kill. I
Yeah.
have to appreciate the hyper aggression, but I feel that could have been saved for maybe a better moment. But had you found the pick, that would have been absolutely huge, as every single member of Arial Rise has been putting in a lot of work, doing their daily duties.
A really interesting run it back, to be sure, but not too much of a welcome one. It gets shut down right away, and it really didn't provide much intel that you can use later in the match. We still see everyone alive going into the last 45 seconds, and really that was just a waste of an ult. Now, the Breach still has his ult, and actually not sure what the formal term for it is other than huge mega wall of death. But it looks like they're... Oh. Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder. Thank you, Observer. And that's going to be the Rolling Thunder coming out as soon as we said it. He gets stalled out a little bit by the Molly on the ground. Cybercage in his way as well, but he's going to provide a huge distraction for A site. It looks like it's going to be prepped for A, but hey, guess what, VGA? You've been debated because the spike goes down on C site. Everyone's still alive, and this is going to turn into a very, very nasty situation. Everyone is still alive, like I said. No ults on the board other than the Sage revive. And they're coming in like ants going one by one. And I don't think this is going to go well with KZ.
Yeah, another wonderful bait from the side of Arial Rise as they get the spike down and delayed a lot of time of the defenders having to rotate across the map. Now, Sage ult means that they can revive a teammate, but Toasty is going to be the one to find the first kill. Immediate refrags on their teams, multiple people falling in very quick succession, but it's going to be VGA to get that defuse down as quick as they possibly can. Toasty left in the 1v2 is not going to find it though, as Raph puts a bullet to his dome. And the spike is going to explode. It's going to be another round win for Arial Rise. Something we saw yesterday from them. Wonderful, wonderful baits. Now, that is I love to see, but VGA, you cannot fall for something like that. Unfortunately, it was just too much for VGA to deal with. You know, time's counting down, the final seconds are arriving. You have to make something happen. When you see someone drop their ultimate on a site, you don't expect, especially the Breach, you don't expect it to be anything less. Toasty trying to find the first kill here, though, with the Marshall not going to find much success with it.
Yeah, those baits, I mean, you cannot take such a linear progression from what we've been seeing so far for VGA. Once they think someone's rotating around, that's what they go for and go for only. And we do see two bodies off the board on VGA's side going for it, and it looks like they've been baited once again because there's no rotating this time around. The spike goes down, you lost your top fragger and your top support, so you're just mostly down to another two more duelist, a duelist and a controller and a support, one of each, to maybe bring this back. Now, the Omen does have his ultimate, he does have his teleport, but it's not a great situation to use it. All of the attackers are completely spread out, and Stuns does find a kill onto Mindless, so you've lost out on that utility. It's a 2v5, and if you're VGA right now, you're in a really bad position because you could rotate in your sewers like we see the Rays attempting to do, or you could be Polonium stuck at the top of heaven, completely screwed over. And so Polonium goes for the jump, but it's a jump of death, and Rika sees what's going on and realizes this is a terrible idea. Maybe I can go frags and frags, or I can get stuck at the top of heaven and be killed by the bomb. So again, a 5-round lead right now for AA batteries is looking really good. I guess you could say they've been charged up.
You know, I gotta say, Kek, I love that time. It's
thank you.
Perfect example to show here.
I'm very punctilious.
Thank you. Thank you. I gotta say here that Arial Rise last night, however, was not showing up nearly as well as this against PDHM. Now, leave it to the fact that PDHM may be a better team. Leave it to the fact that it may have just been because Arial Rise has been playing so much already that day. We can't really tell. We can't decide. We can't know what's happening in their minds. But nonetheless, it was a beautiful, this is a beautiful showing from Arial Rise here. But Polonium very well could shut this down. Operator in his hands going to send out those paranoias. That's going to be a lot of smokes. And once again, if you would like to turn your attention to the top left corner, we see another rotation coming out after a lot of utility has been dumped. But VGA is not going to fall for it this time around. They got people still spread out across the map on every ideal possible point. Looks to be a garage and B take by the looks of it. from the hands of Arial Arise. A potential gunfight could ensue in the next few seconds, but they're going to have to make it quickly. 50 seconds left on the clock as Garage is now in control for Double A's.
Mindless has the right idea. He stayed on Garage the entire time. He was aware of it. Mindless does find stuns, and Space and Steph go down right after. It's looking really good for VGA right now. They've trapped the entire attacking team. They've trapped all of Double A inside of their own B side trap, and they fell for it like honey, or like bees to honey, or ants to sugar. I don't really know what the term is, but they fell for it in a flawless win against VGA, and that was a round that VGA really needed. Their economy's looking a lot better now. They get to keep their weaponry, which I would say is almost as important, if not more important, than the win themselves. No one died, so they don't have to rebuy, and they can hold on to their double op, double vandal, and their phantom setup. Now, there's going to be a little bit of worrying for Double A side. They have to rebuy all their equipment, and while their economy is still not as bad as VGA's, they can't let rounds like that slip away again. They need to start rethinking of their strategy.
They cannot let happen, but winning so many rounds in a row, they don't have to worry about their economy too much. A potential amount of damage coming out here from the side of Roasty and Toasty. Cypher's going to lose a little bit of health, and that's going to be Toasty being shut down by Mindless's own Molly. No! Phoenix, you're supposed to heal in the fire, not die to it, but apparently the Brimstone cannot read that effectively. It's going to be everyone making their way onto A site now. Mindless finding another. That's going to be a spike down in the site, but not effectively down. It's going to not be planted. Gonna have to pick that up and re-go for it. Raph finds kill on the Plutonium up top, but Mindless still going to be up top as Amali goes for the charge on Raph. That's going to be Mindless now finding yet another kill. However, this time the spike does though go down effectively for the side of Arial Arise. A 2v2 situation makes that a 2v1. It's going to be left all up to Space to Cypher, but he's not going to be able to find the final kill. He takes out Mindless, but the immediate refrag from Rika is going to give him a second round win in a row. What a round, Kick.
Yeah, what a round, Casey. I'm not much of a psychologist or anything like that, but what I can imagine is that maybe Double A right now is kind of at a standstill. They've been rotating a lot, and they've been baiting out a lot of their attacks and getting those spike plants down, but now it seems like no matter where they go, VGA has caught up to what exploits they want to use and want to be there immediately for that post-plant situation. And so even going for the direct attacks like we saw last round was shut down pretty quickly. And even though it was brought down to only one defender being left alive, that's still a bad situation to be in. And it looks like, again, they're going to go straight for another A plant. This didn't work well last round, but it looks like they want to go for it again, maybe with some corrections. Keep in mind, Mindlessly did accidentally kill their Toasty, like you said, so maybe without that team kill and play, they could have a better chance of bringing it back. Now, we do see a lot of vision denial, and Raph does get the opening pick onto Roasty. It's suddenly a huge back and forth. It's a slaughter fest. Mindless gets another kill on the stuns, and that spike has gone down again.
Spike has gone down. That's absolutely huge, but the tripwire has been activated now, and that's going to be both the Omen and the Cypher stun. Trying to come in on the rotate, or the Omen and the Brimstone, rather. Trying to come in on the rotate. Not going to find a lot of effectiveness. They're going to have to go for the site retake, but multiple attackers are actually rather far off site. That's going to be Mindless now, dropping down, killing Space, the only member effectively on site as Defuse is going to begin. Or it could, but it's going to be mollied rather. It's going to be kills coming off from every single side, and it may be too little too late now, as it's going to be a full retreat from Rika. Polonium is going to be the one to fall, but regardless of the amount of kills that's going to come out from either side, the spike has detonated, and that's going to be another win for Arial Arise. A beautiful return back to victory after a couple of rounds of falling off.
Yeah, there's actually a huge return, like you said right now, for VGA. And in fact, if you look at the scoreboard right now, it's really not too far off from Double A's either. So there's a lot of questions I have in my mind. The top frags are essentially the same, both coming out from the Brimstone. It's really a matter of just getting those proper positions in place when it comes for Arial Arise to get that spike plant down. Normally when they get it, that's the round already over. The post plant hasn't been great, but now suddenly VGA's woken up a little bit. They've gotten rid of their wiggles and, all their nerves. Or maybe not, because Stuns gets that opening kill, but the immediate retrag from Toasty taking down Stuns.
Soul for a soul on the side of both teams. However, the ultimates of each operator are going to be lost now very early on, but it's going to be a save from the side of VGA. Polonium, the only one on C-side right now, is going to have to deal with Purple Frenzy. Spike has been planted, and he tries to find the first kill in the space, but is outgunned by the Phantom in the hands of Space. Immediately shut down once again by Rika. Refresh coming out everywhere. The Sage is very close, however. Steph finding kill on the Toasty, and that's going to be a kill. 2 kills for Arial Arise, but the Hellfire now coming out. The Spike isn't halfway defused, but it's all left up to the Brimstone and Omen. It's going to be Mindless pushing down C long now, trying to delay them as long as they can, but that is not enough. The Molly came out as well, and that shut every potential for a defuse down. It's going to be another win for Arial Arise now as we switch to the last round before the half is up. Now, after this round, everyone's going to lose their credits, so there's no point in saving, but that's something we saw Arial Arise have to do, and is attempting to make VGA do towards this final round, so they can get even a stronger advantage here.
Now, the scoreboard isn't looking nearly as even as it was the last round. We see 3 members of Arial Arise with triple digits on the board, and only Rika at 8 kills is the second closest to coming close to getting double digits. Now, like you said, the last round in the first half, it's gonna be an interesting one because already we see Toasty going in for a very aggressive run it back. Unfortunately, the intel might be there, but the frags are not, and we're seeing a split push going in the C site once again. Now, a lot of VGA is pushed back this time. We're not seeing the same aggressive plays we've seen the last few rounds, and that could be an indicator of why they're already on the site. Arial Arise is already on the site. We do see them clouding onto the site, but Space already has his positioning down. That's gonna be a headshot. Going onto Mindless, double kill, never mind. And Mad finds Polonium. Suddenly you're down to 2 people left. You have Toasty and Roasty, the red duo. Toasty does find stuns again for another round in a row, but unfortunately, he's in such a horrible position. He's spread out and away from his teammate. The other Omen has a great position on him, and that's going to be Steph finding Toasty, and it's down to just Roasty. Roasty's not alive for much longer, however, and Matt takes him down, and that's going to be your first half, ladies and gentlemen, of Map 1 versus VGA and Arial Arise. Arial Arise is looking so good on that attack, but now VGA is on the other side.
Back to the pistol rounds we go, and like you said, they look very good on attack, but this is a attacker-sided map. So the answer that we're going to need to find here to the question that we're begging is VGA going to come back? We cannot tell just yet, but if they have a half anything like Arial Arise did, then we're going to see this go to overtime. But of course, with a 3-9 split, that is not the most ideal by any means. It's going to be a real sweaty 4 rounds to win for Arial Arise. And well, we're back to this pistol round, which historically Arial Arise usually come out on top of. Even on their competitors that they were against yesterday, PDHM, the people who were who 2-0'd them yesterday, they at least won the pistol rounds. They were showing a lot of aggression, even on the defending side. So I am excited to see exactly how this is going to go. But the sides have flipped, strategies change, everything changes. The camera up though for Space is going to alert them that this is going to be an A site take. Cyber Cage out now is going to be launched with Toasty finding the first kill for the attacking side. Things already looking up for VGA now, as it's going to be a full-fledged rotate from everyone. No one's on site though. Only thing we have is a Brimstone in heaven, and everyone else funneling in through CT. Spike is down now. Inside the smoke is going to be Toasty, possibly coming to odds against Sage. Is going to take some shots onto her, but is not going to find a kill just quite yet. Let me stun by the breach here, but that's only going to be a single member of the Phoenix. The wall goes up now. The base is trapped inside, but Toasty with 3, Toasty with 4. Can he find the ace? No, he cannot, because Polonium will seal it out from under his toes. But Toasty, the MVP of the round, finding 4 huge kills.
Not bad at all for Toasty. What a great opening dialogue, essentially, for VGA side. I believe this might be the first pistol round we've seen, at the very least, a long time that Arial Arise did not win, if at all, the whole season that they have lost. That's a really, really good indicator for VGA right now, and it's only a 5-round difference between the two teams, and this is a great chance for them to bring it back. What it really counts, though, is that Arial Arise in the past has been able to psych themselves out pretty easily, expecting these crazy rotates to happen that just don't. And so it's going to be a matter of now of whether or not they can actually stay concurrent with their enemy team to see where that spike is actually going to go. And so far, the answer is yes. It looks like they figured out exactly what the plan is, and it's going to be a seaside push. And we do see most of Arial Arise hiding out inside of Garage. They're all really bunched up on that stim beacon. I'm not sure what the plan is because it's a little too to the left to get any angles going onto the site. But Stun says, screw it, I'm going on and gets the headshot on the Polonium like it was nothing. And that's going to be a diffuse going, no, not quite yet, not going down just yet. That's going to be Steph with a triple kill onto the majority of Arial Arise. I'm sorry, of VGA, and Roasty is the last one alive yet again. Casey, this is not the first time, nor probably the last we've seen Roasty in that 1vx situation.
It is not, but unfortunately, without his duo Toasty, there's not a lot that's going to be able to happen. We saw Toasty going absolutely massive last round, but he's not around to do that again. You cannot rely on that one player, just like you cannot rely on someone to clutch up 1vx. Yes, it is possible, but no, it is not likely. Now, Steph finding 3 kills in the round, absolutely huge, and getting that spike defuse is going to mean a whole world of good for the economy of Arial Arise. Now, once again, the question that I have to ask is how are the next rounds going to add up? Because the economy is going to be about equal now, and after that, Arial Arise is possibly going to go on absolute form on a rampage. They're going to get their hopes up, but maybe we'll see some more hyper aggression now. That is exactly what we're seeing from VGA now. Space finds 1 kill, but it's going to get very easily pinched from the likes of 2 others. The run it back from the Phoenix is already going to have expired, but not without already using its worth and force and getting 1 kill. Now, they got a lot of control on the A site, but immediately retreated back to A long. Spike has been fallen down now. It's in a place that's going to be very difficult to retrieve for any of the attackers. Frags coming out on every single side, and Toasty yet again on another burner as Phoenix going to find 3 kills. But Wrath is going to shut that down very quickly. Down to a 1v1 now, though. Polonium is going to be the one to finish it out and round out round number 15 at a 5-10 deficit for VGA.
When it comes down to it, you gotta play aggressive, but if you keep going for the same maneuvers over and over again, it's not gonna work out. We did see the C side push a few rounds ago, and that was shut down. And then we saw the A side push again, maybe going for B this time. It is Haven after all. There are 3 sites. Wouldn't be the worst option. It's pretty close to a bad option, but it's still something you haven't tried yet if you're VGA. Now we do see what seems to be a split push again. No, never mind. No real aggression other than Wrath getting the quickscope on the Toasty. That spike is still down, and there's no real poking or prodding to be seen of what they want to do next. Now, Stuns does have a potential angle on this raise, but not quite enough to really secure the kill. Now, that Brimstone's going to get the spike on VGA's side, and it looks like it's going to be geared towards an A side push. Now, typically, we see only Cyphers on A, but that bundles up really quick to the Sage and usually the other C side defenders going over really quick. Now, the Tripwires are in interesting spots right now. They're more selfishly oriented towards the Cypher, and it's not so much going to be put on Sewers to delay an aggressive push.
Well, if he's going to be the only one holding on the A site, the selfishness is not something we're going to have to worry about much. Razebot coming out now is going to be shot immediately down by Matt. He's going to have a backup on site now. Both Cypher and Sage are going to be sitting on site, so it's going to be less attractive for the attackers to try to take. Stuns, however, make it even less attractive as he takes down the Cypher on the attacking team. It's going to be a 3v5 advantage in terms of man count now for Arial Arise, as the attackers have to make something happen quick. Now, the potential flank is being read really quickly, but there's only 10 seconds left. They don't have time to make it anywhere, so they're just going to go back and they're going to save. They're going to decide, hey, we don't have time to make anything happen, so we'd rather just save this. Of course, they could be picked off pretty early on, like Sun's going to come off right here. He's going to go for the kill on the Rick, but is not going to find it. Soul for a soul, but a little bit of economy save for both sides could mean the world of difference. But we are 2 rounds away from Arial Arise taking the first map, Keg. This is not looking the best for VGA.
It's not looking good, but they've had a lot of success on attack so far. They've gotten a few more rounds than we've seen them get on the defense, which is saying something, but it's still a 5-score but not even a lead. It's just 5 scores on the board compared to the 6 more they need to get to even it out. Again, they're going to go for the A side push again, and we have seen this time and again, and there's no real creativity for how they want to push. They keep going for the same exact C strat or A strat over and over again without really learning from their mistakes. Now, the Brimstone's going to blind them out. The camera on Space does shine out on the attack. Cyber Cage goes down. It's going to be a huge slaughter fest already. Space does find Mindless, and it's going to be a back and forth between the teams as soon as one can find the other. Now, Toasty is going to blind out the left side of a Link to make sure no defender can go through without taking damage. Space says, screw it, I want those kills. I need to get those knowledge. And he sees the Brimstone. Now it's going to be 2 of the attackers hiding inside of Hell right now. They do have a defender on top of Heaven. That's going to be Raph holding down a huge long push on the A. That's going to be Raph finding and connecting onto Roasty. That spike is still down and no one seems to be defusing it. And more importantly, there's no attackers left on A site. It's down to Rika, the last one alive right now, and that diffuser is going to go down. If that diffuser... Oh, never mind, but that first kill from Space onto Space is going to shut it down. And a second one is going to be a second too late. That defuse does go down, and immediately the 3K on that grenade is going to go to Steph. Now, you know, if that was a second earlier, that could have been a round win for VGA, but unfortunately, they just gave up on the site way too quickly, and they got punished for it accordingly.
We do have a term for moments like this, and that term is going to be map point. For Arial Arise. You know what, Cake? That works just as fine as well. But I gotta say, I gotta commend Rika for the ability to hold sight and try to hold that defuse for as long as she could. Wasted all of the ability on the raise that they possibly could, but did not find it in the end. Now, thankfully, due to the new X-rays in the API, we can see a raise very aggressively trying to push here, but the op is not going to land the shots onto them just yet. A C4 gone out to boost them back. Now, a very close engagement here. Stuns finds 2, 3 through the other one. Stuns going absolutely massive now. Finding 3 kills so early on. And I hate to say it, but at a point in time like this, the map is all but over for VGA. And 2 versus 5 situation to retake, make that 2v4. Could turn to a quick 2v3, but no! Stuns does not want to deal with that. He's going to find 4. Can he find the ace? No, he cannot. He's going to shut it down. It's going to be the man himself, the Cypher, to try to bring it back. But it's going to very quickly get denied by the hands of the Brimstone now. It's going to be map 1 in favor of Arial Arise. We are going to go on to Bind now, which they have done pretty well on.
Yeah, Bind has been an interesting map for Arial Arise. We've seen them do very well. We've also seen them get absolutely shut down upon on what seems to be their looming bracket demon, who's in Grand Championships right now, PDHM Gaming. Now, they need to go on to face VGA once again on this map, where they probably will have similar success if I have to put on my prediction hat. They've had a lot of luck on their aggressive plays, and although Bind is kind of a little bit more disproportionate, oh, actually, no, it's a pretty even.
Yeah, I would have to say it's, you know, it's decently even, to say the least. You know, Bind, it's a map that really goes 50-50. It could swing either way, depending on attack or defense. It really just depends on lockdown and strategy here. Now, on a map like Bind, no worries, Keg. I've got you under control. I've got it under control. But there is going to be a small issue by the looks of it. Seems that one of the members has had an internet issue, so we will still be sitting here talking for a little bit. No worries at all. But okay,
what's up?
Bind and Haven are the 2 kind of outliers. They don't follow a real common strategy. They don't have a necessarily a mid. You know, Haven has a B site, which is probably the closest thing you'll get to a mid on that map, possibly Garage, but Bind completely negates it. Now, what can you tell us about Bind? How do you feel this is going to play out?
So Bind to an extent is pretty much a mini Haven, all things considered. Now, in terms of how there's 2 bomb sites compared to the 3 on Haven, yes, it is different. But when you have that same exact almost strategy architecture of having to rotate and bounce back and forth between A site and B site, or baiting out one site and going to the other, you really don't see that on many other maps. You do see it to a much smaller extent on Split, and It's sort of there, but more on the defender side for Ascent. But when it comes to Haven and Bind, you really see a lot of ping-ponging back and forth with those attackers and where that spike's going to go, especially at the very last second of a game. So that's why the aggressive attacks work so well, and especially because Ariel Arise can not only have that mechanical seemingly superiority over VGA, but they're able to play much more coordinated and get these attacks down. And when they give the call to rotate to the site, they get up and do it. There's no dilly-dallying, there's no stalling. They go and do it. They just straight up do it. VGA on their attack was much similar. I'm not going to discount them too much. We didn't get to see a lot of their attack, but it was pretty solid from when they could get the plant down. Now, that's another big issue that we've seen from Ariel Arise when it came to them versus PDH. They had a really hard time in those post plant situations. Both teams in this Haven matchup struggled with it. And I think, having Ariel Arise start off on the attack was really beneficial for them. Had it been the other way around, I still think Ariel Arise would have come out on top, but I think the scoreline would have been a lot closer. I think VGA would have at least had double digits. Not high double digits like 12 or 11, but I think they would have been at least 9 or 10.
Yeah, there's definitely potential for something like that to happen. VGA is definitely showing themselves as a very strong team and is trying their best, nonetheless. But sometimes, unfortunately, it just does not come out as much as you would like. They won more rounds, despite showing a lot of strengths on attacking, they won more defensive rounds on Haven they did when attacking. So it's a tough situation nonetheless, because you're not going to be able to find a lot of solace once you switch to your defending side, usually, unless you're Ariel Arise right now, who just went on a tailstorm those last 3 rounds. But the 2 attacking rounds that VGA did win, it was mainly left up to Toasty. He dropped a 3K and he dropped a 4K on the 2 attacking rounds that he won. Now, Toasty obviously playing the Phoenix, he has that duelist kind of fragger role. So he's able to, go out there. He's able to go out there and gun it. He actually got the most kills in the entire match. If I'm reading this correctly, yeah, he actually got the most kills in the entire match despite being on the losing team and only having won 5 rounds. But that's because 7 of his kills came from the rounds that they won. The duelist had to show up. Now, we saw yesterday that there are a couple of sages on board in the final 3 teams of this tournament that can really frag out as well. But you can't expect your sage to be the one to frag out. Now, when you have an entire team who can all use, super powerful weapons, they can all hit their shots, that's what you're going for. And unfortunately, for VGA, not everyone was able to show up just quite yet. Now, not to say that they are not going to in the future, possibly even on this next map. Of course, this is the first map, first match of the day. Everyone's still kind of warming up, getting used to it, swinging their arm around, moving their wrist around, however you play it, plugging in their controller. This is really going to be a true show of character when we get to this next map.
Now, what makes me worried, Casey, is that I feel like VGA did not VOD review before selecting these maps. Now, Haven is a first choice, and that was Ariel's choice, which makes a lot of sense. They chose to attack. Now, here's where I'm worried. VGA chose Bind, which is fine in and of itself, but they chose defense first and Ariel to attack. Now, we know these top 3 teams love to play their hyper aggressive attacks, and typically those attacks have been the red winning rounds for a lot of these teams to win. And so with VGA choosing defense, either they have a crazy strategy to shut down this aggression before it can begin, or maybe they just made a very grave mistake. Now, here's another thing to go along with it. Say that Bind is a great map for VGA. They win it all. They have one of the best defenses we've ever seen in AGN. The big issue now is that they're on defense again going into Ascent. And that is also a very almost disproportionately attacker-sided map at times. And so, again, this seems like it's a really big trap. It's a big trap ball, pretty much, for VGA. So if they can bring back the defense on these next 2 maps, they have a really good chance of bringing it to the grand finals. But we've seen Ariel erase on their wickedly powerful attack. And I don't really see that slowing down for the next map either.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see that tune, really slow down or tone down in any way, shape, or form. Looking back on yesterday's notes, Arial Rise likes to play a very intel heavy and a not so fragger heavy kind of map. If we want to expect what their lineup is going to be, we're going to see a Sova, a Brimstone, a Cypher, a Jet, and a Sage. Now, obviously, some of those things can be switched out. The Brim could be switched for an Omen, depending on how you want your smokes. The Sage is probably going to stay, and the Jet could be switched out for any duelist. But there's a lot of high angles you can get on Bind that you're going to want to, take care of. They're going to want to take control of. And if you're running your Omen to mainly be smokes and support, you can't expect them to use his teleport ability to get up to those high spots. So they're probably going to still opt for that Jet. Now, I don't have notes on VGA by any means, so I'm curious what the answer is going to be for that. What their answer is going to be for how they are going to deal with this lineup. If Arial Rise is bringing a Sova and a Cypher again, that's going to be a lot of intel, falling into their hands. And it's not going to look good for VGA at all, really.
Now, I'm sorry, I do want to make a small correction. I was wrong about the Bind pick. It was that VGA chose Bind, but Arial chose to attack.
Okay, that does make a little more sense. I wouldn't expect Arial Rise to really pick anything else in that sense. They have a very strong lineup for attacking on Bind. The majority of their rounds won yesterday actually were on Bind's attack again when they were on their final match against Valkyrie. Now, that was a match yesterday that we dropped in just on the final map for, but nonetheless, the majority of their wins and the majority of everyone's wins actually came when they were on attack. So, of course, that's kind of how it works out. One team gets the majority of their attacks when they're on their attacking side, the other team's going to get the majority of their wins when they're on the attacking side, vice versa, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, it does not change the fact that Arial Rise AA is probably going to get extremely hyper aggressive. We saw a wonderful bait coming out from them yesterday, unless that was PDHM. I may have been mistaken there, but once again, Arial Rise still pulling out a few different types of wonderful baits, like we saw in this last map. I'm excited to see exactly how they're going to pan out on Bind. Are they going to pub stomp VGA, or is VGA going to come back with a kind of a hailstorm of counter strats? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to go down as well. I'm glad you brought up Valkyrie because, again, it kind of continues on to the aggression story that we've seen in AGN so far this tournament, where Valkyrie was doing terrible on the first half of Bind against Arial Rise, but come round 13 on the second half, we started seeing a comeback from them just a little bit. I mean, it wasn't enough for them to garner the win, but once they started getting those plans down, the post plans for a lot of these teams can be extremely difficult. Now, when they did bring it back, it was a good attempt. They got, I think, maybe 5 rounds to the 13, similar to what we see right now on that last map. It looks like we will be going to Bind map number 2 in the losers finals between VGA and Arial Rise. Keep in mind, Arial Rise is 1 map in the lead. If they win the second map, we will be saying goodbye to VGA for this tournament, unfortunately, and Arial Rise will be moving on to the grand finals. But we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. We got to predict what the agent lineup's going to be.
Now, like I already said just a few seconds ago, I'm expecting Arial Rise to probably bring, that double intel, a fragger, a sage, and some sort of smoke. Now, in their matchup against PDHM yesterday, I actually need to not bite my tongue, but rather mark my words from what I said. They brought the Sage last time they played Bind against Valkyrie. Then they played against PDHM. They brought the Phoenix. A little more of an aggressive duelist, but still nonetheless a duelist. That is going to be Arial Rise on the right side. So the lineup is going to be instead of a duelist, but rather opting for the Breach, which I find kind of interesting. You know, I wouldn't expect a breach necessarily, but you're still bringing those flashes nonetheless, which could help them out in the long run. Because as it seems, VGA, when they're
Right there.
on the down low, when they're not, at the best of their ability, they like to hide in tight corners. And those flashes, they come quick, they come fast. They're going to flash and they're going to immediately peak. So Arial Arise could have this in the bag. But nonetheless, prediction time is over. We are up and we are starting the action phase of round number 1 on map number 2.
Yeah, it makes me a little worried to see two duelists, like you said, on VGA's side. It's not a great position to be on the defense, but never mind. Toasty makes it work out, taking down stuns immediately, and a lot of that utility you just mentioned going to go down the drain. Matt finds the refrag onto Roasty, so it's one half of the Roasty-Toasty combo going down. Mindless now, holding in the middle of the site. Gonna be watching out for any of the, enemies going through A short. But it's a huge stall game right now from both bathrooms and mid. The spike is completely down on the site. It's actually planted, never mind. So you can't rotate around anymore. Space gets the double kill on the Polonium, and that's Mindless clapping back. It's a whole refrag game right now, but unfortunately, the defenders are not on top. Arial Arise has that advantage up until now. It's a 2v2, and that's going to be the molly going down on the last two attackers. Steph takes down Roasty, but it's going to be Steph in a very awkward position, but it's going to be Matt taking down Mindless, and that's going to be round 1 going to Arial Arise. To be honest, that was a lot closer of a round than I thought it would be. For the most part, they usually, Arial Arise wins their attacking rounds, but they had lost their second half one last map, and that's the first one I believe they've lost so far, but they continue the trend here.
Yeah, it appears to be that. That was a lot closer than I was expecting it, but once again, Toasty. This is obviously just round number 1, so you can't debate someone's ability just based on that, but Toasty already coming in with the top frag for his team, running that Phoenix, running the Duelist. We saw him in the same position he's sitting in right now, just by the TP. Flashing himself. That's going to be actually very aggressive push now. Shorty in his hand. He's going down the Omen and immediately go through the TP. It's going to make it caught on the other side, though. All the defenders are going for the rotate now. Going to have to go through Cypher's links, though. Roasty with a nice one tap on the stuns is going to take him out, and the spike, just like that, is going to be planted now. 2 of the attackers have fallen, but there's still 3 on the men that are going to be behind. They're going to be off site. It's essentially a 2v2 on site right now. Yeah, delivered all over. Roasty, Raph with 2. Now the wall's going up and the defuse is going down. Defuse halfway now. It's going to have to make quick work of it, though. Raph is going to go find 3, but it's not going to be able to shoot through a Sage's wall in time. And that's going to be the defenders winning round number 2.
Yeah, fantastic round number 2 coming out from VGA there. Again, I feel like Arial Arise kind of psychs themselves out a little quickly. They went for the same exact strategy again, probably expecting that VGA would expect to be posted up completely on B site, expecting, there's a lot of expecting here, going back and forth between the two sites. But no, they just went for A again, and VGA was completely ready for it and gave that shutdown real quick. Now, we do see the B side push this time around. It's going to be a split between B long and B hookah. Now, the slow is going to go down already onto space, and that's going to stall out the hookah push just for a little bit, but the Omen on Polonium is waiting in garden. Now, depending on the aggression from each side, it's going to be the pre-fire coming out. Polonium gets 1, Rika gets 2, but Polonium comes back and gets a second one. Steph and Matt are down. You've lost your controllers and most of your support. You're down to just your 2 Breach and Cypher. Again, there's no real fragger on Arial Arise's team. They only have support and controllers, which is interesting. But with a minute left on the clock, it's a 5v2 situation. The blind goes down, doesn't work out too well, but it doesn't matter because bullets are more effective. Toasty gets the double kill and secures a flawless win over Arial Arise on VGA's side. That's a fantastic aggression and flank that we saw from Toasty.
I do have to say that this may be detrimenting Arial Arise, not bringing the fragger like we have seen them so heavily do in the past bind maps. I want to question why, but that is not up for us to know, not up for us to decide. The main thing that I want to see here, though, is Arial Arise to show the aggression that they once had, which seems to be the case here. It looks to see a full rush. If you take a look at the map in the top left, everyone's very aggressively pushing in through a short here right by the TP. There's a 5v5 situation now. That's going to be Toasty trying to find one, finds two after Steph takes out one. Toasty on an absolute burner as the Phoenix takes out 3 kills. And just like that, it's going to be left up all up to the Brimstone. He's going to go flash around the corner and not look for him pre-fired to the box, but he is on the opposing corner. Only a pistol, a ghost left in the hand of Brimstone. He's going to be trapped in the corner now. Toasty with a 4-piece on the round is going to finish it off. And an absolutely massive play from Toasty is going to bring VGA to their 3rd round win on Bind, a map that we thought was definitely going to go in favor of Arial Rise towards the beginning.
Yikes. That was a flick headshot at the very end. Toasty, 9-2 right now on the scoreboard. He is triple the amount of kills of everybody else in the game so far. He's doing such a good job, and it's working out so well. Having 2 fraggers on VGA side was the play, and there's not a single real duelist on AA side at all. So I don't really know what the plan was, considering they're a heavily aggressive team. They're slowing down a little bit, and that's probably the play they need to do. But again, they're shooting themselves in the foot by not having that, the utilities of that raw firepower on their side. With that being said, though, we are seeing Suns by himself going on a solo journey up against the Omen, but unfortunately that off is going to back off really quick. But I guess that's a benefit for Stuns. Polonium's going to back off into the elbow, waiting for the hookah peak. But that's not going to happen because it's mostly aiming for A site.
Does seem to be that way. It's going to be a lot of people piling up towards, actually still towards the spawn of the attacker side. So the round has gone over halfway through now, and there still has been no damage dealt onto anyone. It's going to be a lot of chaos in the final seconds here. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, We have the showstopper from Raze on the defense, but the Phoenix, not the Phoenix, rather the Brimstone and Sage are going to have their ults as well. And speaking of the Brimstone, the Wrath's going to take down Toasty, the man who was absolutely gunning it thus far. It's going to be the one to follow. Sun's finding it another as well to take out Mindless, and just like that, B-Site is in control of Arial Rise. Now, Spike has been planted now. So it's going to be all about the retake situation, but with a operator in the hands of Polonium, that's not going to be that easy. This is a very close quarters area. This kind of the back of B and the elbow area is all close, tight corners. It's going to be a game of waiting. And while he does have a frenzy in his hand, it's not going to match up to the Phantoms, Vandals, and Shotguns that are going to be on the side of Arial Rise. So it does seem to be just a quick rotate and a retreat from VGA. And the reason for that being that they've already won. They've already gotten a 2-round advantage. They're not trying to ruin their eco entirely, and especially for Polonium, the man playing the op, he only has 2,400 credits. If he loses that operator, it's going to be a tough fight for him. He's not going to be able to keep running his strategy. And like you saw on the tab there, it is going to be a lot of Phantoms, which are beautiful, close range, and just fast-firing weapons. Compared to Operators, Frenzies, and Vandals, it's not going to be something you want to go up against. So, smart move for VGA to go ahead and hold off, retreat, and save that Operator for another day. It's going to be a second round for Arial Rise.
Yeah, AA needs to get as many rounds as they can right now. Bring it back, because this is not the same Arial Rise we saw game 1. They aren't just bringing out the aggression. We're not seeing any crazy rotates this time around. Maybe VGA lucked out by choosing choosing bind, but having AA choose attack first. But they've lost a lot of steam, and this is after winning their previous game. So I don't really know what's going on in their minds. Now keep in mind, we did have to stall out map 2 beginning because there were internet issues. I'm not sure if that's playing into why we're seeing the gameplay we are right now from AA, but it could be a factor. Now, with 1 minute left on the clock, we are seeing that somewhat aggressive but cautious A push again. Stanza is on his own journey, going through hookah, but he's going to meet up with 3 different people, so he needs to back out while he can. Meanwhile, the rest of AA is waiting towards A short. Back to Stuns, however, we're waiting around to see what he's going to do. I think he's trying to bait out the B push. He wants everyone to think that it's the entire team on B, but the answer is no, it is not. He's baiting out those gunshots, but VGA's not falling for it. They're standing still as long as they can, and they're just not putting up with his shenanigans. 30 seconds left, and still not a single body dead on the board, and the A push is in full effect. Now there's blinds everywhere, cyber cages and smokes of both. That's me Polonium taking down stuns, and Raph takes down Toasty. Whatever plan AA had on this play did not work out. Steph catches out on Roasty, however, and that's going to be 2 against the 1 attacker dead. The spike goes down, and the retake situation is incredibly hard because you have to rotate everyone from B site. Now we do have Rika on B link right now. Would that opt in such an awkward position to be in? They have full heaven control. They have most control over the bottom part of the site, but not the parts that they need. The sage wall is up, and it's impossible for them to get through without making noise. Now the sage is looking to do something. The sage wall is going to go up and battle it out, but before he can even react, that's Steph going down. I'm sorry, Polonium going down from Steph. Matt gets the final kill on the Rika, and it's going to be an even 3-3 across the board between both teams. Casey, I thought that was a really good execute from AA, and it's definitely the pickup they needed to bring it to an even half.
You know, I have to say the same thing, Keg. It was a beautiful execute, and it was a great attempt to bait, you know? I don't know if you really caught this, but of course, you know, the action was starting to unfold, but I was looking at the map, and Omen actually sent one of his smokes all the way from the back of A site to B to try to bait even further the potential for a B site take, which, you know, I think got a couple people on edge, but since the majority of people were still on B site, it was not easy for the remaining members of VGA to hold A necessarily to itself. Toasty now the first kill, taking out the healer, now going to opt to heal himself very quickly. Spike is down though, meaning that it's not going to be picked up currently by anyone. Double flashing around corner now. Space is going to find Toasty though, and is not going to want to deal with his shenanigans whatsoever. Using his ultimate to find locations of everyone else. They're going to read the fact that there's only one on A right now. So they're going to dedicate themselves to A, but a very quick rotate around through the spawn is going to say otherwise. Spike being planted now between the cyber cages is not going to be able to be seen. Phantom is going to be the gun to take out Roasty. Omen going to get immediately refragged though by Rika. So a kill for a kill, back to a 3v3 now, even man count, but it's going to still be about the retake. It's going to be about holding off the defending team from coming back, which I'm not doing the best job of right now because Mindless is going to take out the base right now. The rocket fuses the showstopper coming out now. His position is going to be red. Suns is going to be the one to fall. Raph finding himself killed around though. The defuse is going down right now, and despite the fact that the Hellfire comes out, it is too little, too late. And just like that, that is going to be round number 7 going to VGA.
VGA had a very solid round, and again, Arial Arise is trying to do the same thing over and over again. I really don't understand why they're trying to do this. I understand that one time they went on B side for a B push. I believe that was round 4. It went abysmally, but you have to keep trying again because now VGA understands what you're trying to do. Your bait did work pretty well, but doing it again is just borderline lunacy. And we are seeing a split push this time between Arial Arise, and again, it looks like they're just trying to go for the same bait as before. Now, going for A site is usually the most optimal site for the attackers. It's usually the most accessible, especially with a Sage on board where you can just wall up and plant. But now it seems like they're kind of figuring it out as they go, and that's not the Arial Arise we saw last map, where they seem to have a plan for every single round right off the bat. Now, there's a lot of defenders right now there's a lot of VGA on B site, and it's being baited out. The stage wall is up. The spike is completely away on A site, and this could be the chance for them to attack. The bait could be working again.
Once again, one defender, the Cypher, left in the same position right outside of Showers on A site. But in the meanwhile, it does still seem to be a rotate now, as the spike is making its way towards Fountain in the hands of Sage and B Long. It's going to be a full pile-up by the looks of it. Now, the from stuns is going to be something to stop it. The ultimate now coming out as well is going to show the attempt to push on site, but Polonium with 2 kills and the Rickabonkers with another as well is going to very quickly stop any push that may have happened in the hands of Arial Rise. Wrath falling as well to the hands of Toasty. Now a 1v4 situation with 10 seconds left on the clock. Rika is going to be the one to find it and take out Steph. A very, very quick attempt at an execute, going very, very poorly for Arial Arise. Now, okay, I don't want to talk forever here, but I have to say that what we're seeing from Arial Arise is the same thing we saw them do on Bind yesterday. They're getting way too comfortable trying to push the A site, and when it's not working, they're trying and trying again. It happens, it works once in a while. You know, the first couple rounds, it kind of went, you know, AV, we're going to see who's going to go, Arial Rise, VGA, but they only have 3 rounds won. 2 of them are from A, 1 of them from B. Obviously, the map count is so close, that's actually not important to matter about right now when Toasty finds first kill on the stun. Push here coming out from Toasty, not going to find much though, okay.
You're right, Casey, I could listen to you all day, but unfortunately, we have to listen to Arial Arise. No, I'm just kidding. We have to listen to Arial Arise right now, and it's actually a really cool map. You're right, it seems like they haven't corrected their mistakes from yesterday on Bind, which is interesting because they made the same mistakes against Valkyrie and PDH Gaming. Now, with that being said, Toasty, however, seems to have it much more figured out as a defender, taking down the head of Raph. Stuns does follow up and take down Roasty as well, but Toasty does not seem to be phased by anything right now. He goes in for the kill, he backs off onto A, there's 45 seconds left, and he seems relatively unstoppable. He is a literal shadow on A site, and nothing really seems to be able to stop him. His positioning has been completely unknown so far. Now, interestingly, we do have the Sage on B site waiting for full permission to go for the plant. However, he is one of 2 left alive. It's going to be Steph and that last Sage going through. And, you know, the plant goes down, but, you know, you have a lot of VGA that aren't dummies. They're rotating around as we speak. The walls are completely gone for Matt. You don't have any way of protecting from the spawn entrance going on to B. Now, Steph does have the op, but they're getting overrun really quick with the 4K on Toasty. Now, denying the ace, that's going to be Matt. Taking down Toasty, Mindless takes down Matt, and it's going to be another win for VGA. Again, it just seems like Arial Arise is getting too comfortable. Like you said, Casey, they don't really understand what they're doing wrong because they haven't corrected it from 3 different teams so far.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some sort of workaround here for Arial Arise. His Bind is just not on their side. You know, it doesn't seem to be their best map right now. We saw them win it once yesterday, and they had some promising figures the second time we saw them, but it's starting to look like things are switching their way of VGA, and I think we could see a 3rd map here. Of course, you know, we're only on round number 9, and we're going to need at least another 7 rounds before we can see any sort of victory. But I couldn't really tell you exactly how this is going to pan out. But my guess is that we are going to go into a 3rd map just if this continues right now, unless the side switch in 3 rounds and things change very quickly for Arial Arise.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think we will see a 3rd map, all things considered. I think both teams are playing really well to their strengths, but each team have similar weaknesses that each other can exploit at the same time, whether they realize it or not. Now that spike plant's already gone down, there's no bodies off the board yet between the 2 teams, but it's also looking like a really shaky defense. Mindless does get that first kill on the stuns. Never mind, Mindless and Toasty getting a 3K between each other. Steph takes down Polonium, and Roasty showing up on Steph as well. Maybe the attack was suddenly super shaky. All the bodies in a matter of 15 seconds are completely gone on Arial Arise. The defuse goes down, and that is going to be over double the score for AA right now. It just seems like once that plant goes down, Arial Arise has no idea what to do on Bind. They're going for their safety pick. They go for A again and again. They went for B on round 9. They tried to play risky, and they got shut down for it too. It's hard to really say, Casey, without going to a full analysis, but I think it might be part of their operator selection too, and who they chose for agents.
It may very well be that. There's no duelist that can get hyper aggressive. But I do have to actually just backtrack really quick on what you said. You know, B didn't work out the slightest for them. But the one round they did win, it's because it was a 3v5 save from VGA. So we've seen 8 plants, and out of the 10 rounds, 8 from the 8 plants, only 2 of those have been successful from the likes of Arial Arise, but no worry about that one. Rika Bonkers is taking people out
There.
with the operator. Just a very kind of a small line of sight here into Hookah, but nonetheless making it work for them. That's good Cypher to fall very quickly early on. Cyber cages could be down, but are not going to be of use anymore.
Of all things considered, if you lose out on your Cypher on attack, it's not the biggest deal in the world, especially as your first pick going off. Space hasn't really shown up on the attack either, going 3 and 9 so far. But Roasty taking down Steph, you lose out on your primary controller, and that's a really bad situation to be in, especially with him having the only ult on your team. That could have been a game changer right there. Stuns on that Guardian does find Mindless, and that's going to be losing out on your Sage, but her heals, I believe, were already out by the time she went down. It's a back and forth on A. Yet again, Matt taking down Toasty, and that's actually a pretty huge pick because Toasty has been the one show up on not 1, but 4 kills in a lot of rounds. Raph finds Roasty as well, so the Roasty-Toasty combo goes down. Matt retaliates with a revive on the step, and A-Site is completely in the name of Arial Arise. Their last 2 defenders alive are going to be saving, it seems, looking for those exit frags, and realize, you know what, they have such a huge lead right now. It's no big deal. We can just save a round and clap back even harder. At this point, when you're VGA, you're worrying about your economy more than the round differential because you have such a huge lead. You want to hold on to your Phantom, and more importantly on Rika Bonkers, you want to hold on to that op. Now, of course, I do want to touch back again real quick, Casey, onto Toasty, because 16 and 7 right now is completely unparalleled to anybody else in the game, and it shows how important the fragging opportunities are on Bind compared to having just controllers and support.
Yeah, I have to agree. Honestly, there's not a lot to say about Toasty, except the man is just gutting it to the best of his ability, and it definitely shows. You know, seeing Toasty just absolutely eliminating anything in his path is beautiful work to see. You know, we saw a lot of 4Ks, a lot of 3Ks on this map and the previous map from Toasty, and having a duelist, like you said, seems to be a bit more important than having a couple of sight controls. You know, Brimstone and Breach both kind of filling that role. Unfortunately, bringing both of them was not the play for the likes of Arial Rise. Neither is the 2 losses at point. 3 losses, 4 losses they're going to lose very quickly on the last round for the swap. That's going to be 4 bodies very quickly hitting the floor in less than 30 seconds. C4 is going to detonate Rika into Hookah, but Space is going to do that. Shut him down now. Finally, let's go ahead and jump in and send him to the Shadow Realm with the pistol. Now, round number 12 is over. That means the sides have swapped. We're going to see Arial Rise switching their way onto defense, where they could hit a stride, depending on how they do, starting these next couple pistol rounds. If they're going to come out swinging, they're going to come out aggressive with a lot of, how would you say it? A lot of eco coming out in the next couple rounds. We could expect a pretty long matchup. Honestly, quite a few more rounds to get it on. But if they don't hit that initial stride, if they start falling apart again the first couple pistol rounds, they're not going to have the economy to back it up. And that's going to give VGA an even stronger lead than they already have.
Yeah, I mean, again, 8 and 4, you're double the scoreline again. Double A's. Able to bring it back a little bit, but you're on the attack and you weren't doing too well, but now you're on the pistol round again. It's a great opportunity for Double A to bring this back. This is usually their golden ticket, their bread and butter to get the ball rolling for whatever happens on. But they lost out. Actually, no, they won their first half before, and that wasn't a really good indicator, as normally as it is. But suddenly, B-Site is getting a pretty cloudy with a lot of VGA folk. Now it's a split push between 2 and 2 on B-Long and Hookah. And we do see the Cypher chilling out in bathrooms as well, waiting for a rotate or just the sign to rotate around the entire team. But Toasty doesn't care. He wants to go immediately for the kill on the Steph. Roasty follows up on Space. It's Roasty-Toasty combo time, and Toasty comes back to take down Stun. It's a 2-man powerhouse between the 2 teams, and that spike's going to go down on B-Site. Suddenly, you're Matt, and you are the other Brimstone as well. Roasty finds Matt, and it's going to be Raph, the last one alive, not able to really do a whole lot. He gets 1 kill onto Roasty. That's half of the duo of Doom down. But is it going to be enough? The answer is no, because Rika Bonkers comes back and takes down Raph, securing a 9-round lead right now. Now, I mean, there's not a lot you can really do in this situation because you've lost out on your pistol round. Your economy's hurting a lot, and you just got to bring it back as much as you can. We have been seeing huge aggressive plays with Toasty on that Phoenix, and we're just not seeing that same aggression as we saw before. And we are seeing a little bit more cautious attacking styles from VGA as well. It seems to be much more coordinated and well put together on VGA's side, whereas it seems like a lot of the other side people where the spike wasn't on in this last round's case A, it was just a complete stranded case.
It's a stranded case indeed, but that's going to be 2 kills now for the attacking side as Raph gets immediately refragged as well. Roasty finding another kill for his hands of the like in showers. It's going to be a full A site take, and just like that, spike has been planted yet again. Things are going to be tough here on the retake for Arial Arise, as once again they're going to have to save. It's basically a pistol round part 2. They're going to try to find the head of Rika, but Rika is going to say never mind and take down Steph. Roasty now with a 3K on the round, avenging the late Toasty for this round, of course, is going to push them to now a 6-round gap. This is, I don't want to say it's the point of no return, but it is a huge point that if Arial Arise doesn't turn things around very quickly, we're not going to see a whole lot more of them. Well, actually, we are going to see a whole lot more of them on map number 3. Because once again, this is a best of 3 series. So if it is VGA that winds up winning out this round, we're going to go to a 3rd map, and the winner of that map is going to see themselves in the championship.
Keep in mind, you don't really see comebacks like a 4-13 too often when it comes to bind. It's a really stagnant map when it comes to the score differentials. Once you start rolling away with the lead like VGA is, it's really hard to make that comeback. Speaking of which, right now we see a majority of AA posting up on A site, but it seems like the preferred site for VGA seems to be the B, and they are going for it once again. Boombots and grenades going down, rolling thunder going down as well, but it's not going to be enough. There's so much sight denial from Polonium, but is it really going to be enough? The answer is no, because there's so much sight denial, but no follow-up. Sage walls go down, and there's bodies everywhere on B site, and all of AA is stuck inside the small hallway. Steph does find a kill on the Toasty, and that's going to be huge because you lose your top aggressor really quickly. Mindless does clap back on the Steph, and Space takes down Rika Bonkers, but Rika Bonkers did their damage onto Matt already. It's a back and forth between the two teams right now. They are just going head-to-head on B-site. Roasty does get the double kill, gives them a small amount of aggression and room to get that leg up over Stuns. But Stuns claps back and finds Polonium, but he has no idea where everyone else is. The Neural Theft comes out, and he's been spotted. He's the last one alive, and he's completely surrounded, needing to defuse. Maybe you're right, Casey. Point of no return might be what we're seeing because it's 11-4, a 7-point differential. Phoenix has been such a paramount agent so far for VGA's team. It was such a bright and smart choice, and unfortunately it didn't get to show up as much as it did on Haven, but right now we're really seeing what Toasty can do.
You know, I have to agree with you, Keg. Phoenix, Toasty specifically, is really showing us the best of his ability, and a lot of people say that a fragger or duelist role or whatever role it is in the game you play that just runs and guns is not going to be that important. But in a game like this, it definitely does seem to be important, as now every single round that passes by, it's going to be further and further away for the point differential for these teams. It's going to be harder and harder for them to make anything happen. Now, 2 points away from the victory of the map. Roasty finding the first kill now on the Stuns. The breach, that's a fairly huge pick here alongside Space. Cypher on Cypher gunfight going into play. Roasty finding a second kill. The spike has been planted now on A site behind a Sage wall. Now, the reason why that is so important is because if it's a flank, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to gain any traction onto that site. Just like Toasty reading that flank beautifully and taking out the Cypher, or rather the Brimstone. But now it's left up to just 2 people. Make that one person, the Omen, all on his lonesome as Rika finds one more kill. All Steph has in his hands is a double barrel shotgun. That is not nearly enough to make anything happen. He misses the shots on the Toasty and make that a flawless round to push VGA on to match point.
Yeah, what a really bad situation to be in. You save when your enemy team has 11 rounds in their name, and then you are on 4. Now is not the time to be buying. I mean, your economy is already in shambles, but you need to be able to force buy as much as you can. And we are seeing the force buy this round, that we're seeing Phantoms and we are seeing Vandals across the board for a lot of Arial Arise. But honestly, even saving was such a huge risk because now your enemy team's on match point. Again, you need to get 9 more rounds in a row right now if you're Arial Arise. If you want to go to the Grand Championships without going to map 3, we are seeing a 5v5. The run it back from Toasty comes out immediately. The flash goes down as well, and there's nothing to be seen. That's a really good indicator for A site seemingly clear except for Space. Now, Space does take a fair amount of damage. Actually, no. Space doesn't take any damage, and not even being healed, it seems. But he is holding A pretty much in his lonesome besides Polonium on Heaven. Now, the sights are going to be completely denied on A shore. He can't pre-fire anything without risking his positioning, and it looks like it's going to be rotating over to a B site push. Now, Casey, keep in mind, this is really the first huge mass rotate we have seen between either team this game. Going from what seemed to be a dedicated A push all the way to B is such an interesting maneuver that you don't think we would see much earlier on. But now we're only seeing on the match point. And they don't even need to really play this smart. They can just play how they have been playing before, the same exact level, without doing fancy rotates and be perfectly fine. But they opt to anyways. The spike's going to go down. It's a 3v3 across the board. You still have a duelist on the board. It's going to be the Raze. And that's a really good position. She's in fact in a really good position herself. She's near elbow. She has the potential to get a double kill. She's going to be rotating around, and unfortunately, she gets there way too late. Space finds the kill on the mindless, and now she has to rotate around onto the back of spawn. She finds one, but she finds 2 as well. That's going to be a double kill coming up from Rika. Bonkers into Roasty, getting the final kill of map 2 between VGA and Arial Arise. No. Never mind, I was completely wrong. Defuse. I am so sorry. The defuse goes down, and unfortunately, we will be continuing on. Not a victory for VGA. We will be going on, but that was a really important round as well. They took the huge risk for the pistols. They brought it back with the main buys, and now they can continue to buy again. So again, that really big rotate we saw from VGA was not necessary and hurt them a lot.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily hurt them to the maximum extent. You know, in terms of economy, Arial Arise, yeah, they're looking good right now. But VGA won the 4 previous rounds, and a lot of them did not die on those rounds. That means that their economy is looking nice. It's looking tight. They're on the win. They're on the mend. So they have plenty of economy. It's going to be the blind now coming out from the Phoenix to try to do some damage on the step, but not going to do a lot. Now Rosie finding the first kill. It's going to take out Raph, but immediate refract from Sun's going to be in the world. Toasty reading it, shooting through the wall. Beautifully read. Rika now finding yet another kill. And just like that, B-side is completely theirs. Sage wall going up is going to stop anyone from pushing in directly through the backside, through the CT. And the spike has been planted. Mindless going for the res means that now it's a 1v5 situation after Toasty takes out Steph. 2K on the round with Toasty, some kills for Roasty, the duo, the dream team, making it work the best they can. Time is ticking away, dwindling away for the possibility to win this map. Space needs to make something happen, but he's being blind, he's being shot from all directions, and Toasty takes the final kill of map number 2, and we will, yes, we will be seeing map number 3 Ascent.
Yes, now we will. 1 round later, we will be seeing that between the 2 teams. Toasty, easily the MVP of the match. He did unbelievably compared to everybody else, including his own team. Roasty, his partner in crime, did come pretty close with 17 kills, but 25 and 10 is completely unparalleled compared to everybody else. With that being said, though, that was a really good defense. I am completely awestruck that both sides managed to work out fairly well in their favor. There was never a time where it seemed like VGA was gonna lose it or lose a lot of steam. There were rounds, obviously, that they lost, but they brought it back immediately the round after. There was probably only one instance, I believe, where Ariel Arise won 2 rounds in a row, but there were so many across the entire game, across both halves, where VGA won not one, not two, but sometimes even 4 rounds in a row.
Yeah, something I find interesting though is that this scoreline was the exact same that we saw last round. Like, obviously not round for round, but last map it was also 13-5, but in Ariel Rise's favor rather. So obviously it seems that Bind just may not be their map. It came pretty close when they played against Valkyrie yesterday at 13-10, but now it's 13-5. They're slowly dwindling away. It's like a chisel kind of chipping away at the possibility of a victory for Ariel Arise. But VGA really coming back. They're coming in swinging. They've got themselves warmed up. That first map, Haven, it's kind of a fluke. They're saying, okay, we're good to go now. Let's make this happen. And that's exactly what they did there. They really kicked in the gear. Toasty, he was warmed up. He was put into the toaster, warmed up, and he is ready to go now. Now, obviously, the third map is Ascent, however, which once again, like Haven, is a very rotate heavy map. Now, the reason why I say it's a rotate heavy map is because it's such a big map, but the mid control is very big. I want to say that on one end, the defenders have an advantage because it's hard to get into sight. But once you have 5 people on the attack dedicate themselves into one site and they take control of the site, well, now the defenders are looking at a man count deficit and they have to try to retake site against 5 people playing in that area. Things are just not looking good if you're in that situation. Good luck to the defenders for trying to retake site on Ascent. But that is why intel is so huge. That's why we see the lack of a Sage from a lot of teams and rather opting for the double intel and double smokes. This is the map where you want to bring those double smokes. This is the map where you're going to want to bring every sense of intel you possibly can. You need to watch your rotates heavily with Cypher, and you need to understand where everyone is on in sight, because there are so many different angles you can watch on every site in Ascent.
The double intel is extremely important for Ascent, and let's not forget about the fragging agents as well, the duelists that can conquer the map so easily. This is a map where Reyna comes and shines so well. Reyna, Jet, sometimes Raze, for the most part Raze, and Phoenix absolutely blossom on this map. It was just earlier today that we saw a 2-0 from G2 against Fish123 on Ascent, and the aggression, the sheer amount of force we saw on those attacking plays going on to B site was extremely crazy. And even with those double smokes, you still have to be careful. There's only so much you can do before that mechanical skill needs to take over. Those double smokes provide a lot of anti-utility and a lot of anti-visuals. It slows down the attacks a lot, but you still need to have that proper positioning. You still need to be able how to rotate, and like you said, Casey, you need to be able to know where everyone is on those sites at all times, because if you start slipping up and your mind starts wandering and you lose sight of where some of those enemies might be, whether it's attack or defense, you're in for a very bad time on Ascent.
Yeah, you definitely are. You do not want to lose any sort of advantage you may have on Ascent. Like you said, Reyna, she really shines on this map. So does Raze, but I like to highlight Reyna because so far we have not necessarily seen her, at least not today. So on maps like Ascent, I'm more than excited to see if she's going to come into play. Maybe Toasty will take the place of Phoenix. He's not going to be running Phoenix anymore. He could be running Reyna, a much more powerful fragger. Now, flashes, they're okay on this map. They're somewhat powerful, but they're not going to be the number one thing that you're looking for. It's not going to be something you're going to have to worry about, because fact is, there's so many different angles you can look for that flashes just aren't going to be the most effective. Rather Reyna's orb with a much longer and much longer in the sense of length and much longer in the sense of how long it lasts, those type of blinds are much more important, which is exactly why I think she's going to be the one duelist we'll see on either side, unless a team opts for 2 duelists instead of 2 smokes or 2 intels.
I think Arial Arise is going to be very risky. They are so mad after that loss on Bind. I think we're going to see 2 duelists. They realized how the 2 duelists worked so well for VGA on Bind, where VGA had Rika on the Raze and we had Toasty on the Phoenix as well. That worked really well for them. However, I don't think it will be the same Phoenix Raze combo on AA side. I do think it might be Phoenix and Reyna. And I do think Phoenix has a lot of viability on Ascent. But you're absolutely right. I do believe Reyna is the absolute queen of this map because her utility, all things considered, and this is not an offensive way, is extremely selfish. And we don't have any Reyna, but we do have Toasty, I believe, once again remaining on the Phoenix. However, we do have Jet. And I did want to touch upon this too about how she's also great for this map as well. You have so much vertical plays to work with, and especially with that mid control with the op on Jet. Forget about trying to either defend it or try to take it back from the defenders, because right now Jet on the op or Marshall, when she does get it, can be nasty on catwalk.
Yeah, she definitely can be. She can do a lot of work using the operator on catwalk, but that's a couple rounds out, and that's really just going to depend on how Arial Arise does, because of course the only Jet we see is on the side of AA, and if she's not able to get that, well, how would I say? If she's not able to get the economy down pat, it's just not going to be the best for her. It's going to be a lot of rounds where anything happens. But she pushes her way into sight.
Oh my god.
All the way to heaven already. Stuns finding the first kill, but Toasty is going to go ahead and take him out. Toasty falls. Toasty is on path with a vengeance. Stuns finding 2 kills now as Polo takes out Steph. Just like that, man count is in favor once again of VGA. Despite the fact that it was a very aggressive and very noble push from the Jet very quickly into sight. Now, site control is mainly in favor of Arial Arise here, but VGA having the stronger man count here is going to find difficulties. The door is not closed, though. Means they can walk their way into sight. It's going to be stuns up top, trying to take some shots, but it's going to be taken down by Polo. Raph left in a tough situation now is going to meet the fate of Rika Bonkers Classic. A round that went very aggressive, very fast, is now going to swing in favor of VGA.
That's a really impressive comeback. I do think that Arial Arise went a little too aggressive there, especially Stuns. Stuns went like a hawk in the sky towards the heaven area of A site, and Roasty didn't even react. You saw on his perspective, you saw just a shadow of where Jet was and still didn't really react to it. That's how crazy Jet can be sometimes. But that was a pretty, I almost want to say an even round, all things considered, because that spike plant did go down. It looked like it could have been anybody's game, but that last minute rotation from B side to A is what stalled out the attack enough to kind of second guess what they were doing and give enough positioning advantage for VGA to take it over. Now Roasty this time around getting the opening pick on the Stuns. It's not going to be Stuns taking out Roasty this time, but his good buddy Roasty the Toasty takes down Raph and Matt to go with it. And suddenly, with like less than 30 seconds into the round, you're down to 2 players left alive. Toasty gets another one, so it's only down to 1, stuck in a corner and killed like a rat in a corner. It's gonna be the Roasty Toasty combo getting their collective ace between the two, bringing it to a 2-0 against Arial Arise again.
I mean, there's a lot that I would like to unpack from that round, but all that we have to say about that is just the Roasty Toasty combo, putting in a lot of work. I mean, I would not necessarily expect such a dominant force to take place this early on, but nonetheless, it is taking place. Now, if you want to take a look at the top left corner, it does seem to be a site take, maybe pushing their way through mid to one of the sites, which is something that tends to be a little bit more powerful, just because mid coming in from whatever mid control they have is a huge feat. Now Toasty finding the first kill, though, immediately refrag. Roasty and Toasty are both going to fall to the hands of Raph and Steph. The Roasty Toasty combo is going to fall to the PH brother and sister duo, at least in terms of agents.
Ew.
They're going to be the one to fall. Now 3v4, back to a deficit man count for VGA very quickly.
It is an absolute A push right now between both teams. That's right, both teams are pushing A. It seems like it's becoming much more aggressive this time around for both teams. It seems like they're both trying to take over the same site pretty much. But the defense is mostly going to be on Heaven right now. Stuns gets a few shots in the air against the Brimstone, but somehow Brim does not die. I believe that's going to be Raph on the the defending Brimstone right now, and she does not want to give up. They continue to go for it, but the headshots miss. Stuns has A all by themselves, so that buys enough time for the rest of AA to plant onto B. You can tell Rika and the rest of the gang realize what's up, and now that the spike is down, they have to all push from a singular direction. They all have to push from the back of site going towards spawn, and that's going to be a great indicator to Molly and Sage wall it off. Now, whoa, the vertical plays from Rika. I'm not really sure how they did that. There must be a ladder there that I never realized. Rika with a 3K right now, and suddenly it's looking like a defender game again. But Steph from the shadows comes back and takes down Polonium, but gets a few shots off on their own. Mindless secures the kill, and that's going to be 3 rounds in a row. 3 defuses in a round. 3 defuses in a row. That is going to be a huge lead right now for VGA. And again, if VGA takes this map, they will be going to the grand finals, and we will be saying goodbye to Arial Arise.
Can I get a drop?
Now, 3 plants in a row. Was that a plant on round 2? Because I don't remember there being a plant down on round 2. Did not mark that down. It may have been
No, it was not. It was so close.
Yeah, but nonetheless, a beautiful sense of vertical play coming out from Marika there. She actually jumped on the boxes onto the stage wall, so that's a beautiful amount of game sense there from Rika. You know, that's a very common stage wall when you have B site. So using that to their advantage, and it falls so quickly, you wouldn't expect someone to be on top. But nonetheless, it's a wise move, and now the showstopper comes out with a double kill, taking out Space and Matt. 2 attackers very early on, just falling to the hit of that showstopper. And now it's going to be an attempted op shot. Roasty and Toasty firing back with 2 more kills. That's going to be Seth left all to themselves, and Mindless taking out the final kill. What came out the showstopper, raises ultimate, very, very well named here. Just annihilating 2 members right off the rip. Such an easy round there. You know, after you find those first 2 kills, literally 5 seconds into the round, there's not a lot you can recover that quickly. When you lose 2 more in the next 5 seconds, that may have very well been the quickest round of Valorant I've ever seen. And yesterday we saw someone literally throw 2 rounds because of a Rios. So
yeah, even those rounds
goes
took longer. Yeah, those took longer. Oh my god. But right now, Catwalk is hotly contested. Toasty takes down Space. It's Phoenix versus Phoenix, and Toasty comes out on top. I'm pretty sure no one else in AGN can rival what Toasty can do right now. Stuns going for the vertical plays on the up, I believe. Trying to get the shot on Toasty, but Toasty's way too quick. Faster than a blink of the eye. Escapes from the back of Garden. Not going to be in too close proximity from a jet with an op. That's a terrible idea. And that spike is still in a very precarious position. Now, we do have the Brimstones pulling up on B, but not going to dial it back. And so it's going to be in between A and B right now, where the majority of AA is trying to figure out what to do. It's an opportune time for a lot of VGA to move forwards and trying to just snuff out this round. Steph does revive Space, and that's going to be 5 people back on the board. It's almost as if nobody died. Now, Jet does come down with that ult, and is it going to make a difference? Yes, it does, because Stuns takes down Rika Bonkers, and Polonium comes back with a double kill, taking down Stuns and Matt, and you lose one of your duelists and a support on the line. Steph comes back and takes down Mindless, and the plant is well underway on B site. Toasty's stuck. He's going to use his Sheriff to open up the stage wall. He needs to preserve as much ammo as he can, but that spike plant is going to go down. Him, the Cypher, and the Omen all stuck in the same exact spot. This could be an opportune place for a 3K. But no, it's the push up. The Hellfire goes down. It's going to force the push up, and that's going to be a huge slaughterfest from Arial Arise. Space with a double kill, and the Hellfire kill coming out as well. Gonna lead to a point in Arial Arise's favor. The first one we've seen so far, coming close to the first quarter of the game.
The Hellfire coming out from Raph, a beautifully read situation. You know, time is ticking away. Like I said, that's only 45 seconds you have. Once that spike's planted, you have to make stuff happen fast. They wasted so much time getting a safe wall down that there's no time for a rotate. So when you put that Hellfire down, you can't fall back and wait by any means. Now the running back from Phoenix here coming out is going to mean in a very aggressive push. Space already in sight, but gets shot down by the op on top of the staircase there. But the running back is going to be the thing that keeps his life safe and in check. However, Jet is in sight now. Stuns just walking on in, but gets shot and domed down by Mindless. Matt finding kill on the Toasty. The top fragger is going to fall, but for an even man count.
It's an even man count, but you've lost 2 of your best fraggers on the board. You lose out on your Jet and you lose out on your Phoenix. There's still a Raze and a Phoenix on the board, however, and it's looking like A is going to be the opportune side again. Neural Theft comes out against the defenders, and it doesn't matter because Roasty still gets a kill on the Raph in space. Takes down Roasty in a refrag. Double A, though, all things considered, still really on top of the refrag game. Speaking of which, it's going to be all heaven or nothing for the defenders right now, and it seems like hell is the place to be. There is a Cypher at the bottom. I believe that is going to be... Yeah, that is Cypher down below, and it's a risky situation for Rika Bonkers to be in. Mindless goes down for the smokes. I'm sorry, the Hellfire. And that's the only time they can really do much. Matt's going to be taken down, but Space with the Vandals gets a 3K against VGA, and that's going to be another round on the board for Double A. What was once 4-0 is now only halfway to becoming even. That's a really good position to be in, and maybe this is a snowball effect they need to bring it back.
Very well could be that, but still not having to worry about much with the economy is going to be VGA. They still have plenty of credits. It seems the only one that's going to be limited on what they can buy is Space, who has died almost every single round. So you're not expecting a whole bunch. Rather, that was Arial Rise. My apologies. But VGA is still nonetheless looking just fine buying their regular Phantom and Vandal setups here. Raises Boombot coming out, reading for any attackers here inside of the kind of the B main area, pushing out before they get into this little marketplace here. Flash comes out around the corner. Space makes his way on in. Is going to try to take shots onto Rika. Not going to find anything. But someone's in the corner there in Space with a beautiful flick. Finds 2 kills now. And just like that, it's going to shut down. The running back now in effect is active. He has the ability to use it, but is not... Actually, rather, he is currently using it. My apologies. So he's going to be aggressive push, but just misses him around the corner. But the spike can go down now. Just like that, B-site is in the control for the attackers with a definitive advantage in terms of man count.
Definitive indeed, but speaking of definitive, Matt and Steph clapping over Toasty and Roasty. It's gonna be the dream team of self-esteem going down, unfortunately, and Polonium not too far behind. Space on the Phoenix really showing up this game and taking down pretty much almost the entire team, or I suppose 3/5 of the majority. That is important because AA is bringing the comeback. They've learned from their mistakes and they brought back the double duelist for map 3. And that's really impressive. They realized having all intel, all brains, not really the move to take when it comes to VGA. And although they're struggling in map 3 as well, this is the time for them to make the comeback.
Yeah, I like to see it. A lot of teams are taking after, the professional teams and what they do, but no. Not Arial Rise. They're going for a double duelist again. And Space now finding another kill, finding 2 of the exact same people in the same spot. So early on, is now going to once again, in just a matter of seconds, leave them with a man count advantage. Arial Rise. The same peak time and time again is not working. Like Suns with the op in his hands, takes out Roasty. Toasty is still alive though, possibly looking for vengeance. Polonium with a frenzy from a long range takes out Matt. That's the first kill in the hands of... I'm blanking right now. VGA. My apologies for that, but nonetheless still a 1v4 as Suns finds yet another kill. Spike has been planted now, so it's going to be left up to the Omen all by lonesome up on the catwalk. Polonium left on low health is going to have to deal with something at Space with another 3K on the round.
Space is playing unbelievable. He is the Toasty of this game so far. Toasty on the Phoenix as well on VGA side is still playing really well, but having this extra punch of aggression is what they needed all along. We brought it back to a 4-4. This is Double A getting 4 rounds in a row right now. And this is what they needed. It's 4 rounds in a row versus 4 rounds in a row between both teams. I don't think that's going to change swapping sides either. I think both the attacks and defenses are really doing a good job. Of course, as I say that, Stuns immediately comes in with a kill onto Toasty, and that's going to be a lot of aggression on the A. Now, it's going to be the second kill from Roasty, taking down Matt. We've seen Mindless clapping back on the space as well, and Steph taking down Polonium. But here's the thing. Rika came back with an op themselves and took down Steph. Excuse me, and that is going to be a 3v2. Still no spike down. It's completely surrounded by defenders, and if you're Double A, you're thinking your streak might be over. You're trying to rotate around right now. You're completely blind. You're looking for someone in heaven through a small little peek hole inside the smoke, and you're not finding it. The people in heaven are aware of what could happen, especially that the Jet on the op is a force to be reckoned with. They're not going to peek out so easily. 50 seconds left, and Roasty's stuck in the bottom of hell. That spike has all eyes on it. There's literally no way to get it without taking on a gunfight, without possibly sacrificing an attacker. 37 seconds left, and it's being super slow, and neither team wants to make a huge risk. But it's going to be Stuns, of course, of all people, to go forwards with the Jet. Now, the Jet is in cargo area right now. That's going to be Raph taking down Rika and Roasty, and that is going to be a surprise win for Double A. It seemed like it was completely in the favor for VGA, but that Jet ult and the surprise double kill, the follow-up, helped so much.
I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it came down to frags there. You know, Jet's ultimate has such a strong ability, but with a double kill coming out from the Brimstone, that means that there is plenty to fear.
This goes here.
You know, that's now going to be, what's that? That's 5 kills for Raph. He has not gone a lot on this round, but he does not have to. He is a kind of a controller in a sense. He has a smoke, so he has to hold back. But being able to find those kills, though, is still just as important. You know, any 1vx, 2vx situation, any clutch situation where you have deficit is going to be huge. Stuns to the operator, those going to try to push up onto the green box here. But someone very, very close to the corner is going to be seen, though. Toasty gets 3 people to shoot at him right off the rip. Raph is going to be the one to find him, though. He's going to wind up taking off his head very early on. That's one of the 5 ultimates down for the side of VGA. Noting that they do have 5 ultimates, though. Space finds 1 kill, but Mindless with the immediate refrag and the turnaround is going to deny him any more gain onto that site. Now, we are at a 3v4 deficit for VGA, but it does seem to be an A site take. 2 members are still on B, and Cypher's links have all gone down. Sheriff getting shot at by the op.
I know it.
Now, the ultimate coming out means that the positions are going to be known, but there is no need for that. Hellfire coming out now. It's going to be trying to find some more, but the spike still being planted just away. 2 remaining members inside smoke. Matt finds 1, and the second one as well. And that is now a 6-round run for Arial Arise. They took some shots of espresso. They've kicked themselves up, and they are ready to come back.
I'm not really sure if they were asleep at the keyboard or let their little brothers play last map, but this is the Arial Arise we are familiar with and we saw on Haven, and it's looking like they really want those $100. Keep in mind, whoever wins this map will move on at the very least win $100 for 400 prize pool. And right now, they went from 0-4 to having a 2-round lead, having won 6 rounds in a row. With that being said, I mean, that's really impressive and everything, but they gotta keep it up too, because I don't think VGA wants to give up too easily. But Space does find Toasty again, and Toasty's not having a great game so far. He seems to be the one that being first picked off pretty often, and maybe his aggression's a little too aggressive. Now, it's a minute 6. What's up?
I was just going to say, you know, once you see the fraggers start coming out on the side of Arial Arise, that is when it starts getting serious. You know, they didn't have any fraggers, they didn't have anyone that they could expend and get super aggressive. But now that they do, they have 2 of those. And it's just putting in an absolute large amount of work, and you can see that by them now having a 6-round comeback.
And with 50 seconds left on the board, it's really going to be back and forth. Yeah, you're down your Phoenix, and that's huge. Like you said, you rely a lot on those fraggers if you're VGA, but the spike is completely surrounded by AA people on B site. And Suns takes down Roasty. You're losing defenders one by one. That spike plant's going to go down, and it's really down to this.
Time ticks away as Spike has already been planted now. That's going to be the Sim Beacon coming out from the Brimstone on the defending side to increase everyone's abilities to shoot the weapons and reload as fast as they can. So when that push comes back in, Showstopper now coming out is going to be trying to find someone, but it's going to be left on the roof. Space finds a kill on the Rika as he tries to retreat from the Hellfire. 2v5 situation, make it a 1v5 now as things are not looking good for the defending Brimstone. Suns finds him finally with the operator in his hands and turns that into a flawless round. And now what is a 7-round streak for the side of Arial Arise. Now, like I say, we are on round number 12. That means everything's going to reset for this. Are we going to see VGA come back with another 4 to however many rounds now that we're switching to the pistol round? Or are we going to see Arial Arise keeping this up and going to gun it for these next few rounds that we have?
I think that's a very interesting question. Historically, Arial Arise has won the majority of their pistol rounds, but lately, I don't know, because if they can win this round and the pistol round, that's going to put them at a 9-4 lead. What if at the very least VGA can clap back and win the final round in the first half? We could see at least a little bit of a closer margin heading into the second half, even if they do win that pistol round, or at least if Arial Arise wins that pistol round. Now, notice on the minimap, the spike is completely gone. There's no attackers up near at all. Toasty takes down Stuns, but Matt claps back and takes down Toasty himself. Again, the spike is completely gone. The Sage realizes this and picks it up. Roasty doesn't care, however, and takes down Space. This is going to waste a lot of time for the attackers, and the defenders are neural-thieved. I guess that's the word. But you know exactly where those attackers are going to come from, and that's mid. Steph does revive Stuns, and really that just brings the man count back to even. Both Phoenixes are dead, and it just seems like Arial Arise does not know what to do right now. They can aggress forwards, they could go backwards, but there's really not a lot of options they have on the table. We do see one defender on A site, and that is going to be Matt, I believe, on that Cypher, but we do see a very interesting Heaven approach, or no, they turned their gears very quickly, and with Polonium taking down Steph, never mind, the whole team with a firing squad comes from behind and secures the final round on the second half. That's going to be 5-7 right now, and like you said, this could easily turn to an 8-5 if Arial Arise, as predicted, wins the pistol round.
I have to say that despite the fact that they just lost 7 rounds in a row, it does not seem to be getting VGA down at all. Their aim is still impeccable, and they're still, really fighting for it. It's just the fact that they're getting, outplayed by whatever means it may be. It is a huge set for Arial Arise to try to keep, rounding this out. Of course, now they're on the defensive side, which is something that you'd like to see. Especially on a map like Ascent, you have the Cypher, meaning that even though there was a Cypher on the defense the last half, it's still going to mean a whole lot for your flanks. You'll be able to watch it, or as you can see on A site, Cypher's using it rather selfishly to tell himself if anyone is coming through the kind of A link to, I guess you could call that A long, if anything, but I don't even think that would be the correct term for it. The correct terms are not important when you see the rush coming in. Now, Bonkers finds the first kill, and Toasty with a nice one-tap as well. He's going to take out another one as well. Space falling through the hands, and Sun's finding 2 now. Polonium and Toasty being absolutely annihilated on the catwalk, but the position is going to be red. It's going to be Mindless now. Is finding a kill on the mat as he tries to take him out. Not going to work, though, and the spike is being planted for the hands of VGA. Spike down, 45-second timer has begun. It's going to be all about the retake situation now. Smoke coming down from Grimstone. Right between the eyes. Perhaps able to make a little bit of advancement, but he finds the kill on Rika, bringing this back to a 2v2 even man count. Here the tick of the timer now. Jet rushing their way inside. Toasty finding one, and Mindless finding the others, and the attackers just like that close out the round, and that's going to be VGA closing the gap between them and Arial Arise once again.
A very close round, all things considered. I'm surprised. I mean, I could understand what the defending Cypher was trying to do. He put both of his tripwires down on A-Link, trying to trip out the entire pistol team, by the way. But unfortunately, it started off as a mid/B attack and rotated around through Garden very quickly, bypassing those tripwires completely. And that was the right play for VGA. And it worked out really well in their favor because, spoiler alert, they won the round. Now, Toasty Toaster wants to break that stage wall immediately. And it's going to be a 6 and 7 right now. These rounds are important. You've got to even it out. And so, with that being said, that's going to be 2 kills going down, 3 kills going down against Arial Arise. And that's going to be the Spike Plant going down momentarily. Now, if you are AA right now, oh, okay, that was an interesting trade. Stuns taking down Polonium and Mindless taking down Stuns. Again, it's a 2v2 right now. You have a duelist and you have your support, and a duelist versus a support. You're not in a good position right now if your name is Arial Arise. You have to go through Marketplace, you have to go near the fish, and you need to figure out which of... No, never mind, the doors are locked, but you're still going to break it open with your pistols. That's going to telegraph the VGA exactly where you're going to go. Brimstones go down, you're pushing through Catwalk and Barber, and you cannot find anybody. Grenades are going to go down, it's going to force your positioning. Grenades are going to take down Space, and Mindless takes down Matt, evening out everything to 7 to 7. That's a big yikes.
Once again, evening out the score count is going to be VGA. Really coming back on the back burner here. You know, they lost 7 rounds in a row, which would definitely be demoralizing. But like I said, they are not letting it get them down. They are fighting for it the best that they possibly can. And that is, to say the least, absolutely huge. You know, now we're back 7 to 7. Anybody's game at this point in time. It's all about a matter of who's going to win out these next rounds. Of course, we're going to be going a long distance in terms of exactly how many rounds, though. That is going to be the question we have to beg. Are we going to see a 1-1-1-1 kind of situation? Or are we going to see VGA coming with an absolute just hailstorm of rounds, non-stop, ongoing?
Yeah, I mean, are we going to see a hailstorm? I don't know, because this is going to be a very, very close push, it seems. I think it's going to, tension is going to build up and build up and build up and finally release once Space gets that kill onto Toasty. Again, Toasty, regardless of the side, not having a great start. But Matt takes down Polonium and Roasty, and that's going to be Mindless finding Rav out, beating the op pretty much, and a 3K to go along with it. VGA is not looking too great right now, but you know what? To be fair, neither is Arial Arise. Rika does find Steph, and that's going to be one defender left alive, and it's Stuns floating down to their demise, now floating up to the sky. Mindless with a 4K, bringing it back. VGA taking the lead again, 8 to 7. That's going to be 4 rounds in a row now in their favor, bringing it back 4-4-4. Now would be the chance for Arial Arise to keep it going and getting another 4 rounds in a row.
That is exactly what they're going to need to do. You know, a beautiful take coming out from the side of VGA that previous round. You know, we saw Arial Arise, at least the jet of Arial Arise, looked like that while they used their knives out ability, it was not enough. That was Stuns, actually, who was unfortunately not able to make anything happen with the knives out, and only one shot with those knives. Now with the grenade coming out there with a look into the corner, is going to go ahead and read Stuns' position beautifully. Rika might try to find the kill, but using her dash to get away very quickly, Stuns is going to be just fine. Rosie now, however, finding a kill, the first one of the round for VGA. It's going to be the Phoenix down, meaning that one of their only trackers is going to have fallen. They are going to have to fall back on the other duelist. Rosie finding yet another kill with the Phantom in his hand, clicking heads left and right, taking out Raph.
Raph being taken down, and so far it's looking really good for VGA. You've lost a support and a duelist, but hey, everyone on your side is still alive, and now you're forcing the entire defending team to rotate all the way around. Stuns right now is in the best position to do something, but they only have a Sheriff. They don't even have their knives on the board anymore. Stuns is trying to find a way to do something, whether it's finding an angle just like through the wood, but unfortunately it's just not enough of a angle, I suppose. Steph does find the double kill on the Sheriff themselves, taking down Toasty along with it. And it could really go either way at this point. It's a 3v3, nothing really happening, but again, because of the utility that the defenders have, they're stalled out and it's way too late to defuse. That's gonna be another round, but no, Stuns wants to go for a last minute attempt. Not gonna work out. Rika Bunkers takes them down, and even then it would have been too late, but at least stalling out that defuse just for a second cost Rika Bunkers their life. And that's gonna be a 2-round lead all of a sudden from VGA, and it's only going to be 4 more until they can possibly go to the grand finals against PDHM Gaming, and for a chance of a guaranteed $100. But we are seeing again another B-side push, and these have been pretty good, all things considered. I would say the A side has been a little bit shakier, and just because they go for A side more doesn't mean they win every round. Their B side has been pretty much a guaranteed win each time they've gone. I think maybe once it's not worked for them, but it's been about 50-50, I would say, for their A side push.
That it definitely has, to say the least. I mean, every single attack round thus far for VGA, they have managed to win. So regardless of, you know, whether or not they were going A or B so far, they have a 100% win rate on both the attack sides so far. Almost picking up ahead of the Phoenix, though. Stuns almost removing Toasty out of this round, but is not going to make the ends meet, per se. Going to just see the head, but it's going to fall back for a quick retreat now. Seems to be a kind of a split site hold here, with the Jet being the one who can stay back and go to either strong vantage point from the defender side. You can see on the map on the top left that it's going to be 25, but being that the A site take is now going to be a lot of rotation. Sage going for the rotate and Jet now falling in the A site. But just like that, it's going to be VGA funneling in 3 members in the B site, and B site is completely theirs, smoked off by the Omen and by the Brimstone. These are not going to be able to get a strong line of sight, and the flank continues now as the Phoenix is to come back. Still a 5v5 situation, with lights being planted. Into the site they are. Rika finds one, and the Polonium as well. The Showstopper coming out is going to find another one. Steph, the immediately refragged after taking out Mindless. Now it's a 4v2 situation.
Out of charges.
A 4v2 situation, and now you're down to just the Brimstone. He is holding on as long as he can, but he realizes this is impossible. I'm gonna skedaddle. I'm out of here. And so again, you need to hold on to those rounds. You need to hold on to, obviously you need to hold on to the op as well. You need to save that bad boy, because the cost of getting another one would just be way too much again. Now it's going to be a 3-round deficit. We're entering double digits now between VGA and Arial Arise. So you got to start thinking a lot more critically now. You can't waste as many rounds as you have in the past.
You definitely cannot. Now, that is, once again, another round in the books for VGA. Unfortunately, things are just not looking the tightest for Arial Rise, but with the absolute gunner squad that's coming out now, another 6 rounds in a row, it seems to be a pattern is evolving. You know, first we saw 4 rounds coming out for VGA, then we saw 6 for Arial Rise, now we see 6 for VGA. The question is, are Arial Rise going to break the pattern this round, or is it going to be just another run away with VGA? Cannot know just quite yet, but it does seem to be another B-side take. The spike is inside of this small area right here, inside of the, well, I guess you could call B main. It's going to be Sage, though. Steph waiting for the push to be ready and go for the wall up. Flash comes out, the wall goes up immediately, but the wall comes down in quick succession because of that Sim beacon. Toasty finding the all around now. Raph going with the refrag, though. The offense inside on B, but he's going to get flashed very aggressively from Toasty. And the entirety of B-site is in control of VGA. It's going to be about to retake. One on stairs and one coming in. Toasty sees him, though, goes for the 3K. Going over the swing, gets about to get flashed, though, but Matt comes out on the CT and is going to take him out. Time is ticking away now. The man advantage is still in favor. That 2v1, make that 1v1, as now Roasty finds the kill on to Arial Arise.
You're absolutely right. That was another fantastic round from Arial Arise, I'm sorry, from VGA, and they just have this dominant lead right now that just does not seem to be stopped. It was looking really good for AA for a while, but what's going on with them? They cannot seem to bring it back. Their defensive side should statistically be a little bit better, but Ascent is slowly becoming like a lot of other maps, very attacker heavy. And this raw aggression that we see is working out so well because the defenders have to spread out so much to get that early game intel. Now the paranoia is going to go down from the Omen paranoia, and that's not really going to achieve a whole lot, but at least it gives a little bit of information for the defenders to figure out where it might go. Space right now with the molly, waiting for someone to enter from A main. It's not going to connect whatsoever. We are seeing a little bit of a standstill inside of the screen itself, but there we go. Polonium taking down Space, and that's going to be a huge opening pick. You lose down on one of your top fraggers again, and Toasty claps back on the man. So what are you gonna do? You're down 2 people. You need to defend this spike. You need to figure out where it's at, and the answer is gonna be it's on A site. But there's so much visible denial on top of heaven, especially with those cyber cages. There's gonna be 2 bodies waiting for you on the other end of that cyber cage. Steph revives Space, and Rika and Toasty take down their respective people. It's a 5v1 now, not so much a 2 anymore. Raph is stuck in the middle of an Omen smoke. He needs to run away again, but keep in mind, running away now is gonna mean he brings it to match point. Now again, this is not just match point like any other map. This is going to be set point for the losers finals of this series, and whoever wins possibly the next round after this is going to be going to the grand finals against PDHM Gaming for a chance of $300. But Raph gets a double kill in the exit frags.
That means that now it is going to be match point and series point for VGA. Something that looked like it was going to swing in favor of Arial Arise. Now suddenly going on the mend and turning around for the likes of VGA. They have 1 round left, but let me remind you of the fact that they have won, let's see, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds in a row. That means that the economy
Keep it up.
is probably not going to look the best for Arial Arise. Now, we saw this before yesterday, what PDHM was doing to Arial Arise. They were forcing him to save when it came down to the most important rounds, the rounds for the switches and match points. That is just kind of the name of the game. You know, you want to run away with as many rounds as you can to force the other team into a tough situation economically. See, once again, Stuns, the man running the op most rounds, is going to have to resort to the Marshal instead if he wants to keep that full armor up. Not a lot in his hands, not a lot to use.
A minute left on the clock. There's full ults pretty much on the board for VGA's side. Now it seems like the B push and then maybe the rotate into A is usually the play. If they can't get B, they're going to rotate to A, but right now it's looking like it might be a really solid B push. Steph does take down Polonium, but Toasty claps back, and now you can no longer heal on the defending side. Raph goes down as well, so you lose out on your smokes and your molly as well if it didn't go off. And that's going to be a man disadvantage as well to boot. Now Toasty wants to keep going. He wants to get more kills. His running back gets sniped out, but now he has that information that there's an op on the jet, but Roasty doesn't care. The Roasty-Toasty combo coming clutch, and that's going to be a double kill, triple kill from Roasty, and that is going to be set point VGA's favor over Arial.